What's going on, everybody? In this video, I want to go over a Bngo stock, or Bionano Genomics. It's been a while since I've talked about this one. It's been in an ugly downtrend on the chart, so I've been kind of avoiding it. But let's take a look at their last earnings results. We're also going to look at an event that just happened, and we're going to see what's going on the chart. And here's their last earnings results. It released a little over a week ago, and they did see a record revenue of 9.3 million, which is good. A 29% increase over Q3 of 2022, so a year ago, and they did increase their revenue quarter over quarter as well. They now have a total installed base of Sapphire systems of 301 as of September 30, 2023, which is a 39% increase over the number of systems installed as of September 30 of 2022. And they did sell 6,176 flow cells in Q3 of 2023, and this is a 55% increase over the number of flow cells sold in Q3 of 2022. This is good. This is recurring revenue. The more Sapphire systems they sell, the more they're going to sell these nano channel flow cells. They also completed an $80 million registered offering, including the sale of $45 million in principal amount of senior secured convertible notes due 2025, and warrants to purchase 21,660,000 shares, and also $35 million in senior secured convertible notes due 2025. And this was closed on October 13 of 2023. They're also cutting headcount, manufacturing costs, and operating expenses, with an estimated savings starting in 2024 of approximately $33 million. Now I have a question for you guys. Is this just them trying to cut the fat off, trying to get rid of the weakest links, or are they actually seeing a decline in demand for their products, therefore cutting these costs? To me, based on the fact that they have a record revenue here, I think since they are unprofitable, this is a good thing overall, but that does raise a little bit of worries that maybe they're noticing a slowdown in buyers, things like that. However, revenue says otherwise. And they also reiterated their full year guidance of $35 to $38 million. So even with these initiatives to decrease headcount, manufacturing costs, and operating expenses, they still expect the same revenue for the full year. We also have an interesting announcement. Bionano announced that two original equipment manufacturing partners in China, A-Smart MedTech and EcoBono, obtained Regent Class 1 registrations from China's National Medical Products Administration, or NMPA, for Bionano's own DNA extraction kit and labeling products for these companies to use and market these products to hospitals and independent clinical labs in China. I find it kind of interesting that they aren't just doing this themselves, but by finding these OEMs that are already in China, it might get their foot in the door in terms of selling products that they otherwise wouldn't sell through these other companies. Publications featuring OGM increased by 61% from the third quarter of 2022 to the third quarter of 2023. Scientific communities are talking more and more about OGMs, talking more and more about Bionano Sapphire. They also had some key studies published during Q3 that outlined support of OGM's utility for cancer and genetic disease research and in cell therapy quality control applications. GAAP gross margin for the third quarter of 2023 was 30% compared to 25%. Their third quarter operating expenses was 116 million, so I can see why they're trying to cut costs. I mean, with a revenue of 9 million and your expenses are 116 million, there's a huge disparity there. And they do need to cut their expenses while growing their revenue. They do have 63 million in cash equivalents, and available for sale securities, compared to 77.1 million as of June 30, 2023, or the last quarter. I'd say overall this is a good report. We have record revenue. We have more Sapphire systems being sold, more nano channel array flow cells being sold as well, and that there is recurring revenue. So as they sell more of their Sapphire systems, we will see more flow cells sold, which is consistent revenue. And we have an article here, I'll leave it down below for you guys, but it's basically saying that Bngo could see a rebound. And this was posted 4 days ago. And their main point is basically it's oversold on the RSI and it's due for a little bounce. Now we do have something good on the chart. It does look like it's trying to level out here. And for the last nearly month now, almost a month now, it's been basically trading sideways. Kind of a double bottom, a W shape. If you wanted to play this on a short-term trade, I would set a stop loss somewhere around 120 and wait for the breakout of this descending resistance. We've been stuck under this descending resistance for a few months now. I do think a breakout of this descending resistance would also mean a breakout of the 50 EMA, which gives us hope that we can then cross over the next ones. But the EMAs are all bearish, they're all declining, with the 200 above the 100 and the 100 above the 50 EMA. And looking at the moving averages, kind of a similar story. If we can break this descending resistance, we're also going to break the 50 EMA. But these are all bearish as well, pointing downwards, and the 200 is above the 50. So while this chart is very bearish, there is a potential trade. Like I said, set a stop loss at the base or slightly under this support that we created. Let it break out of this resistance and see a little run. Now, as a company, Bngo continues to increase revenue, but their expenses are so high. They're likely to continue diluting, likely to continue to pull out high interest rate debt. But I do think this company will be very positively affected once we start seeing rate cuts. And a lot of these small caps that have been suppressed for the last couple years now will see a resurgence once we have a better macro outlook, once we have a Fed that's not so hawkish and instead is starting to lower rates. And I'd say we're at the beginning because we are at the Fed pause. As long as inflation data keeps coming out favorably, we can soon see the Fed cut rates, which will help stocks like Bngo and other risky small caps that aren't profitable, that have a lot of expenses compared to revenue. Now, while Bngo is very high risk, I still do have a position in it. I haven't been buying it as of lately. The chart just looks very bearish. Now, there's a chance that we are in fact at the bottom and we bottomed out already. I would personally rather wait until we see a break out of this descending resistance and until we start trying to climb up over some of the EMAs and moving averages. But let me know what you guys think about Bngo's recent earnings results. Have you been adding to Bngo throughout the fear, or are you waiting for the chart to look a little more attractive? Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.